So imagine you're opening an ancient Sanskrit scroll, right? And you're fully expecting to find, I don't know, poetry about sun gods or celestial chariots.
Right, the usual mythological stuff.
Exactly. But instead, you find this highly advanced blueprint for a biomechanical anti-gravity spacecraft. Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Today, our mission is to explore this really radical, honestly kind of mind-bending scientific analysis of an ancient text.
Yeah, specifically Rigveda Sukta 1.34.
Yes, that's the one. And the sources we have for you today, they translate this text not as some religious hymn, but as an explicit literal manual for a living machine, one that's capable of time travel and like surviving black holes.
It's wild, honestly. It completely upends our standard historical perspective. I mean, we are looking at a translation that argues modern astrophysics, quantum mechanics, astrobiology, all of it were not just theorized, but meticulously outlined thousands of years ago.
Which is just so hard to wrap your head around.
It is, and the text details a spacecraft that runs on this synthesized blend of human consciousness and cosmic plasma.
Okay, let's start with the fundamental physics of all this because
Yeah.
the source completely redefines the ancient deities in the text. Like in traditional Orthodox readings, this specific sukta is dedicated to the Ashvins.
Right.
And usually historians describe them as these mythical twin deities, right? Gods of healing and the dawn. But our source takes a completely different analytical path here.
Yeah, it really does. Far from treating them as human-like gods riding around in a chariot, the source translates the root of the word Ashvins as representing the fundamental cosmic forces of kinetic energy and equilibrium.
Oh, wow. So not people at all.
No, not at all. You can think of them as the ultimate dualities that govern the universe,
Yeah.
like positive and negative charges, or perhaps matter and antimatter, working in this perfect dynamic state of balance.
So it's basically describing the push and pull that holds reality together.
Exactly.
And what's super interesting to me is that the text explicitly details a 3D yantra. Now, usually when you see a yantra, it's depicted as this flat mystical diagram, right? Like something you'd hang up in a meditation space.
Yeah, geometric pattern.
Right. But here, the source translates it literally as a three-dimensional mechanism, like a physical machine designed to maintain thermal equilibrium across the whole universe. And it also heavily references Soma.
Oh, so is a huge part of this.
Yeah, and in most history books, Soma is just described as an intoxicating ritual drink, like some kind of ancient brew. But this analysis strips all of that away.
It removes the ritualistic interpretation entirely, yeah. In this framework, soma is described as a liquid energy essence, basically cosmic plasma.
Cosmic plasma. Okay.
Yeah, and the text details this plasma moving at very specific wave frequencies across three distinct subatomic orbits. It essentially acts as the energetic fluid, like the fundamental fuel, circulating through this cosmic mechanism to keep those dual forces balanced.
Let me just make sure I'm visualizing this correctly. Is the text basically laying out something akin to our modern understanding of the strong, weak, and electromagnetic forces?
That's a really good way to put it.
Like, these Ashvins and this yantra are acting as the ultimate source code of reality, keeping our atoms from just flying apart.
You're definitely on the right track, but the text actually takes it a step further. Because it's not just a passive code or a math equation, it is an active thermodynamic engine.
Okay.
And according to the source, this system operates flawlessly across multiple dimensions. It governs the visible universe, like the photosphere, the physical matter you and I interact with every day.
Right, the stuff we can touch.
Exactly. But it equally structures the invisible realm, what we would call dark matter and dark energy today. The mechanism regulates the thermal energy in both the light and the dark seamlessly.
Hold on, wait. This is where the source takes a pivot that genuinely lost me on my first read.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Because we just established this grand cosmic scale, right? Quantum mechanics, dark matter, subatomic orbits. And then, abruptly, the narrative shifts inward to the internal human mechanism, human psychology.
Yeah, it's a hard left turn.
Right. How does the source bridge the gap between astrophysics and mental states without it just sounding like, I don't know, some new age philosophy?
Well, it bridges that gap by treating human consciousness as a tangible, quantifiable, and highly volatile energy source.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the transition makes sense when you view the human mind not as a detached observer of the universe, but as an actual biological reactor. The source offers a very sharp critique of Patanjali's classical approach here.
Right, because Patanjali's famous maxim is all about suppressing the fluctuations of the mind, essentially blocking out or like locking away your toxic thoughts.
Exactly. And this analysis of the Rig Veda completely rejects that methodology.
Yeah, because instead of blocking out toxic thoughts, it uses a rather visceral metaphor to explain why suppression is so dangerous. The text compares suppressing chaotic mental energy to swallowing a venomous monitor lizard.
Such an intense image.
Or intentionally ingesting cyanide. Like, if you just force that toxicity down and lock it away, the source argues it degrades the biological vessel. It literally destroys the human body from the inside out.
Right. It treats that unrefined, toxic mental energy exactly the way modern science treats nuclear waste.
No, I like that analogy.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just put nuclear waste in a lead box, bury it in your backyard, and assume everything is fine forever.
No, obviously not.
The radiation will eventually leak and contaminate the whole system. However, if you understand the physics of that radiation, you can actually capture it. You can divert that incredibly dangerous output into a controlled reaction to power, say, a nuclear submarine.
Okay, so the source is arguing that the ancient text isn't telling us to fight toxic energy, but rather to use it as raw fuel.
Precisely. The text introduces the concept of a yajna.
Right.
Now, traditionally, historians translate yajna as an external fire ritual, people sitting around a fire. But this analysis translates it as an internal metabolic fire, a biochemical transmutation process.
Wow.
You take that chaotic, cyanide-like mental energy and you run it through this internal reactor. By processing it rather than suppressing it, the energy is purified.
Yeah.
And here's where it connects back to the astrophysics.
Okay, lay on me.
That highly refined, focused mental energy becomes the actual software command. It provides the ignition sequence for the spacecraft.
Okay, wow. Let's look at the actual ship then, because a consciousness-ignited spacecraft is a lot to process. The text refers to the craft as the Tribatu.
Yes, the Tribatu.
And according to the source's translation, this is not a traditional metal cylinder with combustion engines strapped to the back. It is a 3-layered hybrid system, essentially a living machine.
Yeah, the Tribatu is presented as this marvel of theoretical engineering. It blends disciplines that we currently treat as entirely separate. The Tribatu refers to its 3 distinct layers.
Right.
So the first innermost layer is an advanced biological cellular structure.
Wait, like living tissue?
Yes, it's living tissue. And its primary function is to respond instantaneously to the purified mental energy, the pilot's consciousness that we were just discussing.
A biological whole that completely upends our modern reliance on like titanium and ceramics. If it's biological, does the source explain how it integrates with the rest of the ship? Because, I mean, you can't just fly a giant organism into deep space.
Well, that's exactly where the second and third layers come in. The biological matrix is interwoven with the second layer, governed by atomic physics.
Oh.
This is a structural grid that manipulates electrons, protons, and neutrons at a really fundamental level.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it gives the biological material immense physical integrity and stability. And then the third, outermost layer is described as a highly advanced artificial intelligence, fully integrated into a specific metallurgy of iron, copper, and gold.
Okay, the choice of metals there is super fascinating. Like copper for high electrical conductivity, gold for its resistance to corrosion and radiation, and then iron for magnetic structuring.
Exactly.
So you have this amalgamation of living tissue, atomic manipulation, and an AI-driven metallic alloy. But practically speaking, how does a pilot actually navigate a hybrid of flesh, metal, and code? There's obviously no physical steering column in this blueprint.
No steering wheel here.
Yeah.
The navigation relies entirely on a concept the text calls ahava. Because the inner layer is a living biological skin, it acts as a direct extension of the pilot's own nervous system.
Oh, that's wild.
The ship operates via conscious telepathy. The AI translates the pure, focused intent of the pilot into immediate structural and directional changes. So there are no dials, no latency, no physical buttons to press at all.
So you just think it, and the ship does it.
Exactly. The ship is an autonomous body that reacts to thought as quickly as your hand reacts when you decide to move your fingers.
But wait, if the outer hull is biological tissue interacting with metallurgy, how does it not just instantly freeze or boil in the vacuum of space? I mean, space is an unforgiving environment. It's a freezing, irradiated vacuum.
It is brutal.
Yeah. The source must address the thermal shock of taking a living machine outside of an atmosphere.
It does, actually.
Yeah.
And this is perhaps one of the most stunning parallels the source draws between the ancient text and modern astrobiology.
Really?
Yeah. To survive space, The biological components of the Trabatu operate on the principles of extremophiles.
Oh.
Yeah, these are microorganisms on Earth that thrive in conditions that should logically destroy biological life.
Okay, yeah, the source lists several specific organisms to make its point here. For example, it mentions tardigrades, right? The microscopic water bears.
Yes, tardigrades are renowned because they can endure temperatures approaching absolute zero. That's roughly minus 272 degrees Celsius. And they do it by entering a state of complete suspended animation.
Wow.
But the vacuum of space isn't just cold. It can be incredibly hot when exposed to direct solar radiation. The source addresses this by pointing to organisms like strain 121 and Pyrococcus furiosus.
Is that 10 times fast?
Right. But these are microbes that actively thrive in superheated, boiling hydrothermal vents at the bottom of the ocean.
The most compelling example to me, though, is Deinococcus radiodurans.
Oh, yeah. That one's unbelievable.
It's a bacterium famously known for surviving lethal doses of gamma radiation, like doses that would completely shatter human DNA instantly.
Instantly.
And it survives because its cellular structure has the ability to rapidly reassemble its own broken genome in a matter of hours. So how does a deep-sea bacterium actually form the hull of an advanced spacecraft? Are we talking about, like, a biological paste painted onto the ship? Or is it genetically fused with the iron and gold you mentioned earlier?
The source's translation implies a highly synthesized matrix. So it isn't just a paste you slap on. The extremophile biology is genetically woven into the metallic and atomic layers, creating this dynamic, living biofilm.
Okay, a living biofilm.
Yeah, and this biological shield acts as a constantly regenerating buffer. It absorbs solar radiation, the visible energy of stars, and even the harsh dark energy of the cosmic void. And because it possesses the rapid DNA repair traits of that Deinococcus radiodurans, the hull is constantly autonomously healing itself.
Okay, so if a micrometeorite punches a hole in the hull, or if a burst of solar radiation damages the exterior, the ship's skin just knits itself back together in real time.
Right, exactly.
The extremophiles actually metabolize the radiation to trigger their own repair cycle. That explains how the internal temperature remains perfectly stable, completely protecting the passengers from thermal shock.
Exactly. It completely eliminates the need for external maintenance. The ship's armor is alive, it's reactive, and it's self-sustaining.
Okay, so we have a telepathic, self-healing, biomechanical spaceship.
Casual.
Just a casual Tuesday. Now we have to look at how this thing actually propels itself across the galaxy. Because the source's translation of the ship's multi-vector propulsion system is incredibly detailed. According to the text, the ship absorbs all 7 frequencies of the cosmic electromagnetic spectrum.
From radio waves to visible light to gamma rays, yeah.
Right, and it processes them to generate a highly volatile plasma fuel.
And that fuel powers a very specific engine configuration. The Trabatu features 3 distinct, continuously rotating engines. But they aren't just redundant backups for one another. Each engine is precisely calibrated to generate a counterforce against 3 entirely different types of gravitational fields.
Wow, okay.
So the first engine provides the specific thrust required to overcome Earth's gravity, breaking the atmospheric hold.
And the second engine?
The second is tuned to a much higher frequency. It is designed specifically to break free from the sun's massive gravitational pull, which is obviously necessary for navigating deep solar space.
I'm trying to visualize this structural design because when we talk about multiple engines overcoming different stages of gravity, it sounds a lot like a modern multi-stage rocket.
Right.
Like how NASA or SpaceX launches a vehicle, and once it clears the heaviest gravity, the massive first stage booster burns out, detaches, and just falls away, leaving a smaller, lighter ship to continue. Is that the kind of architecture the text describes?
Actually, no. The source is very emphatic about correcting that exact misconception. It points to the specific Sanskrit term sanila, which translates to a unified, indivisible system.
Oh, indivisible. Okay.
Yeah, these engines are not disposable stages. They don't detach or fall off. They are permanently housed together within the Trabatu. The AI and the pilot's consciousness seamlessly transition the power supply between these 3 engines, depending on the gravitational counterforce needed at any given millisecond.
A fully unified, reusable system.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's pause on that third engine, because this is where the source's analysis goes from advanced engineering to just pure theoretical astrophysics.
Look, it gets wild here.
Overcoming Earth's gravity and the sun's gravity makes total sense for interplanetary travel. But the source claims the third engine is specifically designed to defy the crushing gravity of a supermassive black hole.
Yes. The text introduces the term Paravata, which the source translates as a highly advanced, Mercury vortex engine. Yeah, mercury is a dense, highly conductive liquid metal.
Yeah.
The blueprint suggests that spinning this mercury at unimaginable speeds within a confined electromagnetic field generates this massive torsion-based thrust.
But to what end, though? I mean, you wouldn't just fly around empty space with an engine designed to counter a black hole. According to the source, the purpose of this third engine is to intentionally pilot the Tribatu directly into a supermassive black hole.
Specifically, Sagittarius A star.
Right, the gargantuan black hole sitting at the dead center of our Milky Way galaxy.
Yeah, and the intention behind that maneuver is what makes this blueprint so radical. In modern physics, we theorize the existence of an Einstein-Rosen bridge, which is more commonly known as a wormhole.
Wormhole, yeah.
The mathematical theory suggests that a black hole could potentially bend space-time so severely that it creates a tunnel to another point in the universe, or even to higher dimensions.
But the massive problem with that theory in modern astrophysics is the singularity. Like, everything we understand about gravity says that if you get close to a black hole, the tidal forces will stretch and compress your atoms until you are completely annihilated. Spaghettification.
Exactly, spaghettification.
You can't just fly a ship into one.
Well, you can't, unless you possess a propulsion system capable of generating a localized torsion field strong enough to counteract that specific gravitational crush. The source interprets the ancient text as claiming the Mercury vortex does exactly this.
By creating a bubble.
Yes, it creates an electromagnetic bubble that shields the ship from spaghettification. It generates enough localized thrust to literally surf the gravitational wave of Sagittarius A star, using the black hole's immense mass as a portal to cross into higher dimensions, completely bypassing the destructive singularity.
It's using the most destructive, inescapable force in the known galaxy as an interdimensional shortcut. That is, it sounds like pure theoretical science fiction, but the source doesn't leave this as just an abstract blueprint, right?
No, it doesn't.
It points to what it considers an ancient proof of concept. The source argues that this technology is explicitly recorded in a historical or, what is conventionally considered mythological account from the ancient texts. And that's the story of King Kakudmi and his daughter Revati.
Yeah, the source leans heavily on this narrative because it serves as a literal mission report that perfectly aligns with the physics of the Tribatu. According to the texts, King Kakudmi utilized this exact type of consciousness-driven biomechanical spacecraft to travel away from Earth to a higher dimensional realm called Brahmaloka.
Brahmaloka, yeah.
His mission was to seek an audience with the Creator to find a suitable husband for his daughter.
Right. And according to the story, when Kakudmi arrives in Brahmaloka, a grand musical performance is taking place. So, not wanting to interrupt, he politely waits. He waits for what feels to him like just a few moments for the song to finish.
Just a quick interlude.
Exactly. But when the performance ends, he speaks to the Creator, and upon returning to Earth, everything is completely unrecognizable.
The environmental and societal shift is drastic. For Kakudmi and Revati, only a brief interlude had occurred. But the text states that during their short, 27 epochs, what are referred to as Chatur Yugis, which equates to millions of years, had passed back on Earth.
Millions.
Millions. The civilization he ruled was completely gone.
The source interprets this as a textbook, scientifically accurate description of time dilation.
Absolutely.
It's Albert Einstein's theory of relativity playing out in a narrative recorded thousands of years before Einstein was even born. Because Kakudmi was traveling in a ship generating an immense gravitational field, or, traversing through a black hole, wormhole time, moved at an exponentially slower rate for him relative to the observers left behind on Earth.
And the source argues that the specific details of the story actually validate the biomechanical blueprint.
How so?
Well, when Kakudmi returned after millions of Earth years, the text notes that the human race had severely dwindled in physical size, lifespan, and intellect. They had evolved, or rather devolved, over those 27 epochs. Yet Kakudmi and Revati remained biologically pristine. Their genetic stature was massive and robust compared to the humans they found.
Because of the biological shield,
Yes.
the extremophile nanoskin interwoven into the ship's metallurgy that we discussed earlier, the source argues it didn't just protect them from the thermal shock of space, it insulated their cellular structure from the degrading effects of cosmic radiation and the overall aging process of the universe.
Exactly. The biological matrix of the ship preserved their original genetic code perfectly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The source views the Kakudni narrative not as some fairy tale about a magic chariot, but as the documented outcome of a successful interdimensional flight. It is the practical application of the complex quantum and astrobiological theories laid out in the Rigveda Sukta 1.34.
Okay, so let's just take a breath and recap the sheer scale of the mechanics we've explored today.
It's a lot.
It really is. We started by looking at a translation that redefines ancient deities not as gods, but as the fundamental forces of kinetic energy and thermal equilibrium. Then we examined the concept of an internal metabolic reactor, taking highly toxic, chaotic human consciousness and transmuting it into the pure ignition spark required to power a spacecraft.
Right. And then we explored the structural blueprint of that craft, the Tribatu, a fully autonomous telepathic living machine. A ship clad in a constantly regenerating shield of extremophile bacteria woven into iron and gold, designed to seamlessly repair its own DNA when struck by cosmic radiation.
And finally, we detailed its unified propulsion system, an engine that synthesizes the electromagnetic spectrum into plasma, culminating in a mercury vortex designed to generate a localized torsion field, a field strong enough to surf the crushing gravity of the supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way, which is what allowed the pilot to experience the extreme time dilation recorded in the ancient accounts of King Kukudmi.
It's incredible. It really forces a profound reevaluation of how we interpret ancient literature. We have this tendency to look at our modern discoveries in quantum mechanics, theoretical astrophysics, and genetic engineering as the absolute apex of human achievement.
Yeah, we think we're at the top.
We assume that because we possess the silicon microchip, we are at the pinnacle of historical knowledge.
But here is a thought for you to take with you today. If the explicit mechanical blueprints for a telepathic biological spacecraft capable of traversing a black hole wormhole were meticulously encoded in the verses of the Rigveda thousands of years ago, wait, no, let me rephrase that. If they were encoded thousands of years ago, are we actually inventing the future?
That's the real question.
Or when we finally crack the code of space-time, gravity, and biomechanics, will we realize that we are just finally learning how to read the instructions that were left behind for us all along?
It certainly changes the way you look at a history museum.
It completely shatters the lens. I mean, we expect the past to be primitive, linear, and simple, but when you dive into the mechanics of a text like this, that assumption just breaks down. We might not be looking at the primitive origins of civilization at all. We might just be looking at a mirror reflecting an advanced future we haven't even reached yet.